ਬੁਲਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਵਧਾਉਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਫੋਰਮ ਦਾ ਆਯੋਜਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਜਿਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੁੱਖ ਬੁਲਾਰੇ ਸਨ ਗੈਬਰੀਏਲਾ ਵੈਨ ਰੇਜ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀਤੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਸ ਸਿਚੁਏਸ਼ਨ ਬਾਰੇ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਨੀਨਾ, ਅੱਜ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਕਰਵਾਇਆ ਹੈਗਾ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਵਾਟ ਵਾਸ ਦ ਪਰਪਸ ਆਫ ਦਿਸ ਐਂਡ what is this main guest whom you have called? Why do you think the message she's giving is important?
Actually, I've been following her on Facebook for a very long time, so I'm impressed with her anti-bullying message. But more than that, it's about how to connect back to your uniqueness. So I think that's a thing that's been lacking within the community here that I've seen, that people are shy to really express themselves, and that's very important for me. So her message really resonated with the work I've been doing around really connecting with your own uniqueness and proudly owning that.
So what did you focus upon today?
The anti-bullying campaign that Gabrielle is working on. For us, it's about hosting this human ball of kindness Gabrielle has been taking throughout the world. So for me, when I heard that she was coming out to this area, I asked her to come and speak to the group of people that I'm connected with in Surrey. So for me, it was really important to be the launching ground for this ball of human kindness to bounce its way through Canada, and Surrey is the place that's beginning.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you get this idea of starting this movement?
I got the idea of starting this movement because it made me so sad that the social issues that were in my youth back then are still plaguing every child today in North America, actually in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So from racism to bigotry to bullying, meanness has just gone and escalated into something that we don't even recognize anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me really sad. And so the ball for me, it ends up being a child. And it's that child that is basically left behind, that we don't take care of. And I think as a society, we have truly dropped the ball on kindness.
Mm-hmm. So when did it come to your mind that you need to start this movement?
When I wrote the book, it was actually a TV station that said, we really like your book and we really like the way you talk about that it's okay not to belong. So I always say, through my own experience, I have one leg in the East and one in the West, and it's okay to belong to neither, or it's okay to belong to all of them.
Mm-hmm.
You are allowed to do that. And it's your own wishes. And so when I went out there with the book as an author, I saw that there were so many suicides. And I said, I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to teach that we have to up our values again, and that we have to teach etiquette to these young kids that have no respect. Not even for our elderly, but not for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where a lot of the problems lie. And we blame the technology, but I blame more the people with the etiquette teaching us. Because if you look around, even adults are not nice online at all.
Mm-hmm.
And my personal story kind of fit into that because I've been bullied most of my life. And I've been an outcast. So if I say to you, well, I'm Dutch by adoption, I always say by adoption because of course nobody believes me. But if then someone says to me, no, you look like you're from Persia, or you look like you're from Morocco,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of annoying because I say, no, you have to accept the people the way people say that they are. You have to perceive them that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important that we learn to accept each other. In this, Vancouver, Canada is multi-ethnicity. But we haven't melted. It's a melting pot that hasn't melted together. We're still all separate, and I'd like to see a change in that.
So in the past 2 years, into how many schools have you been?
Oh.
And what has been the response from the youngsters?
Countless. They really like the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Something about the ball makes them understand that they need to do more than just the words. And they literally touch the ball because they know that I'm going to bring it to President Obama. And I'm doing 50 cities. I just gave it a number, but I think I'm going to do a lot more than 50 cities. If I see what the ball does, and I've also told the schools, if they keep it up, if I can come back and really see if there's a difference, then I might give the school the ball as a trophy. I've only done that to one school so far. And that's a little bit to stimulate them that this is not a one thing, this is all the time. And some schools invite me back for workshops where I go into 4 workshops about yin and yang, love and hate, and especially action-reaction.
Mm-hmm.
We all react to each other. If we were all just breathe a little bit more, we might not react and might not think fearful things, because that's what it's about. And I see when the children, when I tell them to own it, Own it if you're short like me. Own it if you're brown. Own it if you're fat. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't, you'll stay victim for the rest of your life. And I don't want that. And I also teach the children that the bully and the victim are mirror images of each other. And the children seem to understand that actually a little bit better than the adults. And I really like that, because if they get that, they might treat the bully actually a little bit nicer. And that would actually maybe alleviate some of the problems that we have out there socially.
And as you are continuing with this movement, where do you live? And you started from a local level and now you're growing
Yes.
into international level.
Yes.
So the kind of response what are you getting? Are you satisfied with it? And what are your future plans?
I'm very happy. I started in Vancouver. Vancouver was my home base. Right now, my home base is between Iowa and Illinois, very close to Chicago. But I'm never there. So I can't really say that it's a base. I live out of a suitcase because I've decided that if I don't keep that momentum up, we're going to lose it. And I agree with you totally. We can give a speech, great, but we need reinforcements nonstop. So there are cities that have gone back because schools say, please come back. The children really like it, but they need more. What is it that you can offer us? So I agree. It's continuous. That's why the children books has to come out in September, and a manual for the teachers.
So what kind of support? Because for all this, you need some financial help also.
I know.
So how are you continuing with who's supporting you?
Nobody. I'm self-funded. I have a foundation in America, and I do ask schools, even if it's $10, even if it's just gas money, to just pay for the donation to that foundation. But I have a friend here in Canada that helps me a lot.
And finally,
Otherwise, I couldn't do it at all.
and finally, what would be your final advice to parents and youngsters? How to develop that bonding? Because you talked about communication, that is lacking. Quality time is not being spent. So, in closing, what would you say?
We need to bond. The children just want to know stuff about their parents. So why don't we bond by not starting the story by saying, in my day, because children don't like that. But why don't we ask a child what they did at school without always pulling in the academics? But did they make a friend? And if the answer is no, then you can pull in by saying, well, you know, when I was in school, I had that trick to make a friend. Or a whole conversation starts. People will forget to go to the TV. They will forget. I really mean that. I think children are that interested and that eager. Don't forget, the information children get is only on Google.
Right.
It's only on our search engines, nowhere else. And I always say to the children, go to your parents, because there's one thing you forget. While you can look up anything you want to do, the advice and the experience that your parents will give you with it is unique.
Right.
And that is fun.
And finally, why did you select this ball to be a symbol of what you do?
North America is all about sports. And I'm a writer, and I was writing. We have not upped our values, human kindness, and I kept writing that down. And then I went, oh my gosh, I got it. A ball that bounces, and then I throw it, and I say, we as a society have dropped the ball on human kindness. Will you help me pick it up? And that's our hashtag, pick it up. Pick up the ball.
Thank you and best wishes.
Thank you.